Hunter Biden, the first son, indicted yet again on criminal charges that could put him in prison for almost 2 decades. The new charges filed late last night, 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors related to his taxes and shady foreign business dealings are in addition to those federal firearms charges in Delaware. Those charges allege Hunter broke the law when he lied on his gun application about being a drug user back in 2018. Remember, that's the same gun his brother's widow turned girlfriend then ditched for him in a dumpster. Oh, poor little Hunter. It was just this past summer that his sweetheart deal blew right up in his face that would have shielded him from serving a single day behind bars, if not for Judge Norica, who refused to sign off on the blatant disregard for American law, as well as intrepid House Republican investigators and brave IRS whistleblowers who sounded the alarm on the alleged Biden family corruption during a House Oversight Committee hearing back in July.
The Justice Department allowed the president's political appointees to weigh in on whether to charge the president's son. After United States Attorney for D.C. Matthew Graves, appointed by President Biden, refused to bring charges in March 2022, I watched United States Attorney Weiss tell a room full of senior FBI and IRS senior leaders on October 7, 2022, that he was not the deciding person on whether charges were filed. That was my red line.
It would be anybody's red line. I mean, think about it. If Hunter's last name was anything but Biden, he'd already be behind bars. And if his dad wasn't a Democrat running for president, he'd also been charged long ago. I mean, this new 50-page plus Hunter Biden indictment is especially damning when it comes to Hunter's foreign business dealings. Deals that, seriously, think about it. They only happened because of his father's position at the time as vice president of the United States.
President Joe Biden claimed his family didn't receive money from China. This was a lie. President Joe Biden claimed he never spoke to his son, Hunter Biden, about the Biden's family's shady business dealings. This was a lie. Now, Hunter Biden's legal team and the White House's media allies claim Hunter's corporate entities never made payments directly to Joe Biden. We can officially add this latest talking point to the list of lies.
So many lies. The web of lies laid out in this latest indictment shows Hunter holds in more than $7 million in total gross income from foreign business dealings involving Ukrainian, Romanian, and Chinese entities. Interesting. China and Ukraine. What a coincidence. The evidence contained in this indictment were previously disclosed during that House Oversight Committee hearing. Of course, the fake news didn't even bother to cover it. Bank records released by that committee found that payments to Hunter and his business associates from foreign entities exceeded $24 million. Take a listen to IRS whistleblower Gary Shapley also testifying that now Special Prosecutor David Weiss did not have the authority to even bring charges against Hunter.
And it sounds like in this investigation to me, Mr. Shapley, that the prosecutors and the investigators were in agreement for most of the investigation, and then we get to October of 2022. I see Mr. Ziegler nodding his head. And that meeting is where David Weiss told you something. Is that right, Mr. Shapley? What did he say? Can you put your mic on there? What did he say?
Yes, he told me he was not the deciding person on whether or not charges were filed. He told us that D.C. U.S. Attorney had declined to allow charges. He told us that he had requested special counsel authority from Maine DOJ and denied that authority.
And was denied.
That's correct.
Were you the only guy in that meeting?
I was not.
How many other people were there?
There were 7 total people, including me.
You know, Weiss initially denied that he even asked for special prosecutor status and was denied it. And now, of course, he is a special prosecutor. He's the one that brought these charges now against Hunter. And despite the recommendation to file charges way back when, someone stopped all of that from happening. I wonder who that could have been. And don't tell me this is about a father protecting his son. This is about protecting his own behind, which was clearly on the line. This is what it's all about. It all comes back to Joe Biden. And what these latest charges are really showing us once again is that our Department of Justice is compromised. And so is Joe Biden. Joe Biden, he knew his son was an addict. He used and abused his own son to make money. Joe Biden, obviously tired of being in the shadows of Barack Obama, decided he'd get rich instead by selling the highest office in the land to the highest bidder ever, China. Despite the money transfers, witnesses, whistleblowers, LLCs, and more, Joe Biden continues to do the only thing he knows how to do: lie and lie some more.
Can you explain to the Americans, amid this impeachment inquiry, why you interacted with so many of your son and brother's foreign business associates?
I'm not going to comment on that. I did not, and it's just a bunch of lies.
You didn't interact with many of their business associates?
I did not. There's lies.
Lies, lies. And that reporter, he actually did his job when we was questioning Biden. He cited a poll which showed that only 30% of Americans, which by the way includes Democrats, think Biden did nothing wrong regarding Hunter's business dealings. Just think about that. 70% of Americans believe that the president of the United States of America was involved in his son's shady deals overseas. So now that even Democrats are finally coming to the realization that Biden could possibly be corrupt, what is the next step here? Will Joe bow out so California Governor Gavin Newsom can finally step in and stop his shadow campaign? Or will they once again indict President Trump on some nonsensical, ridiculous charge to throw off the American voter? Do not be surprised if that happens again soon. Remember, House Republicans are finally moving towards a floor vote to authorize an impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden. But I'm not confident they'll be united. I mean, they couldn't even impeach Department of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas over his disastrous handling of the border, never mind a sitting president. So don't hold your breath on that one. But you know what? You and me, the American voter, we can and we must hold Democrats responsible for running this country into the ground. People can now barely make their minimum credit card payments. They're taking money out of their 401ks just to pay their basic bills. This is not an accident. These Democrats, the government, they want you to be beholden, dependent on the government for handouts. It's a plot we know all too well. One my parents fled when they came to this country from a communist nation. This is how it all starts. And we know how it can be stopped, dead in its tracks. It's why they are so afraid of President Trump, as they should be.